Hello and welcome to week 12 of the Country Garden Crochet Along, and this week we're going to be adding our border around everything we've already made. So how are we going to do it? Okay, so this week it's all about the greens. We're going to be making our border around our entire panel. So we're going to be starting with a standing half double crochet. Let's get that on my hook. And you can join in any stitch around, it really doesn't matter where. Okay, so there's my standing start. Just get my stitch marker in there. And you're working into both loops, okay? So just half double crochet in every stitch. When you get to the joins between these pieces, just make sure that you are working into the last stitch of the panel and then into the chain space of your rose stitch. So you just make one half double crochet in that chain space and then half double crochet in every stitch across there until we get to the corner. Oops. So when we do get to the corner of our rose squares, we need to add an extra stitch for our turn. And the same as we did for the border around our lawn, we're only adding one extra stitch so we get nice rounded corners. There's there. Then you add one half double crochet into the chain space to get your stitch count for that side. Then add a second one, which is your extra stitch. I'm just going to turn round. And then this counts as a stitch for this side as well. So you make a third one, as you'd have one there anyway. Okay, so that middle one is your extra one. And then carry on down the side. I've got my 10 half double crochet along the other side of my rose panel, and my next half double crochet when we get to the puff flowers is into that first double crochet. Oops, that stitch is a bit tight. There we go. Okay, so after the double crochet we've got the puff. We're ignoring the puff and going straight into the chain space. Okay, and into that chain space we'll make 3 half double crochet. Dear, I dropped my stitches. There we go. 1, 2 and 3. Right, so although we ignored the first puff after our double crochet, we're not going to ignore the rest of them. So in between your puffs you'll make a half double crochet. Okay, so work between the puffs of each flower, then back into the chain space and make another 3 half double crochet. 2 and 3. Then again between the 2 puffs make another half double crochet, and you're going to repeat this all the way down your flower puffs, okay, until we get to the end. When we get to the end of this row we're going to repeat how we started. Ignore between the puff and the last double crochet, you don't work into that. Your last stitch will be into the double crochet. So after that last chain space you work your last stitch into the double crochet. Okay, so when you get to the wiggle stitch, you're only going to be working into your green mesh. Okay, so you don't put any stitches into the purple. So you're going to make 1 half double crochet in the top of each double crochet, and then a half double crochet into the chain space. Okay, so that can get a little awkward when you get to the bits that you've worked over. So you have to push aside the purple to get to the top of the double crochet. And then what I like to do is push apart the purple double crochet, so you can put your half double crochet between the two so it stays centered and balanced, and then into that half double crochet there, then into the next chain space, and into the half double crochet, and we get to the next one where we worked the purple, so just push those stitches aside, go through the middle so you can work into the mesh, and another half double crochet. So your wiggles still sit high, but you've got a nice balanced way of doing the mesh. Okay, and that's how you work into the wiggle stitch panel. Okay, so working it into the top of your tulip panel is nice and easy. You've got that last row of single crochet, and you're just going to make a half double crochet in every single one of those stitches. Okay, so when you get round to your marigolds, you're going to make a half double crochet in each one of the double crochet stitches, 3 half double crochet in each of the chain spaces, and then 1 half double crochet into the top of each bobble. Then we'll get back round to the beginning. Okay, and we need to slip stitch into our beginning stitch, but we also need to change colours. So I'm going to be switching to our dark green. So to finish the round, just take that out for a second. I'm going to insert my hook into the top of our standing stitch there, but I'm not going to pull through this green. I'm going to bring in my next green, okay, and pull that through instead, and then chain 1 and pull everything tight. Okay, so there's my switch ready for the next. So round 2. This round's much easier. So we've joined with the previous round, and we chained 1. So into that first stitch, which is the same stitch that you slip stitched into, you're going to make a turning chain for a half double crochet. So I just make a double crochet turning chain. Make sure I've got enough height. So our second round is going to be, it's also half double crochet, but we're going to make it into the 3rd loop. So you got your first loop at the front here, second loop at the top here, and your 3rd loop is back here. Okay, so you make a half double crochet in the 3rd loop only. Okay, and you're going to do that for every stitch in this round. So this one's nice and easy. You just make a half double crochet in every single stitch round using the back loop only. When you get to the corners, so that's where you've got the 2 half double crochet, no, it's the extra, sorry, it's the extra stitch that you've made in the corner of your rose panel. Okay, and into that stitch you're going to make 2 half double crochet, still in the back loop, until you've done it all the way around. So I'll just get to the corner here and I'll show you what I mean. So it's this stitch here, so I've got one more to go first, and make sure that one's there. Yeah. So in this corner stitch, I've got my back loop, and I just make 2 half double crochet in that stitch. Okay, so there's 3 stitches in that corner, and the middle one I'm just making 2 half double crochet in that back loop. So you do that for each of your 4 corners, and then we carry on round until we get to the back to the first stitch. Okay, and you should get this lovely ridge effect. So you get the first 2 loops of the row below, and this is the camel stitch. So we're doing it like this. I just love that effect that it brings up. So rounds 3 to 6 are repeats of round 2, but I'm changing colours in each row. So I started with my medium green, now I've got my dark green. Row 3 will be a light green, row 4 will be back to the medium green, row 5 will be dark green, and round 6 will be light green. I keep saying rows instead of rounds. Okay, and we slip stitch back to the beginning the same way as we did for round 1, joining the new colour. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and finish that. Okay, so remember, for each round you're adding that extra stitch, as we did previously with our brown. The second stitch goes into this corner stitch. I'm going to carry on round, and I shall see you when I get to the end. Okay, so I've got back to round to the beginning of the round, and I'm going to switch colours again. And as before, I'm going to do that by slip stitching into the first stitch and joining the new colour at the same time, and then chain 1 just to get everything connected in place. Okay, so round 3 is exactly the same as round 2. So working in the 3rd loop only, make your turning chain. Okay, so I'm using a double crochet turning chain just to give us the height. Okay. And then you're going to make a half double crochet in the 3rd loop of every stitch round. So exactly the same. When you get to that corner stitch, which is where you've made 2 half double crochet in 1 stitch, you'll make your extra stitch in the 2nd double crochet of that 2. Okay, so when you get to the 2nd half double crochet of the 2 half double crochet in 1 stitch, you'll make 2 half double crochet in that 2nd stitch. So if I just come forward, so there's my 2 half double crochet there, 1st and 2nd, and my 2 double crochet will go into that 2nd for our corner. Okay, and it makes these lovely rounded corners having just that 1 extra stitch. Okay, now after this you're going to make another 3 rows, and that will be the 3 rows exactly the same, a repeat of round 3, and the next row, so round 4 even, will be in the medium green, round 5 will be in this dark green, and round 6 will be in this light green again. So I'm going to carry on with that, and I shall see you when I get to the end of round 6. Okay, so I got back round to the beginning, and you should now have these lovely 6 rows of your camel stitch, and what's left now is to weave in the ends. Now they don't really line up too well at the moment, but if we weave them in carefully we can get them looking a lot better. So I've woven in the 2 rows down here and they blend in a bit better than these up here in a minute. So I'm not going to do the top row for now. I'm not going to weave in that end until we've done the first round of next week. So I'm going to go for the next one. And you want to start with round here, and I'm just going to get my needle so that it comes up through the front loops, so between the front and back loop of that last stitch of the round. Okay, so I'm just going to grab that end nearest to there, weave that through, oops, it'll drop out. Let's try that again. So front to back, back to front even, between the front and back loop, pull your end through, and then I'm going to go through between the front and back loop of the first stitch of the round and just pull that through. Okay, and then I'm going to go back and do the same again, and then just get that kind of through the loops as well. So it looks a bit like there's an extra stitch there, and it just brings things together a bit neater. And then I'll go ahead and finish weaving that in on the back. And I'm going to do that for the rest of the rounds apart from this top one, which I'll do for the first round of next week. So I'm going to go ahead and finish weaving in those ends. And then after that, that's this week complete. Okay. So I shall see you next time for the next stitch. Bye for now.